ZoomerLife. Health, wellness, and longevity from the world's brightest minds.
Okay. Thank you. It's always a little ragged after lunch. Everybody sort of staggers back. So, loosely speaking, our journey today has taken us from an opening group of speakers who demonstrated really how relatively simple it is to stay healthy through a confrontation with the diseases that we fear the most. And so picking up on what Alex was saying and doing, this afternoon it's time to move away from abstract maladies that bedevil us and get to personal stories of challenge, of response, and of inspiration. And so we begin this afternoon with the extraordinary story of Leo Spellman. Watch this. Leo is a 99-year-old composer and Holocaust survivor who settled in Toronto after the Second World War. His name in Yiddish, or I think in Polish, is Spellman, which means player or musician. And in fact, he came from an exceptional family, an 11-member family of musicians, famous in their home country, who were caught up in the insanity of the Second World War. Leo came to Canada in 1948, same year I came to Canada, from a DP camp, a displaced persons camp in Germany. I've tried to figure out whether we were in the same DP camp. I too came from a DP camp, and we both arrived in Canada in 1948. Leo wrote that piece of music, his reaction to what he had experienced in 47, packed it into a suitcase for the crossing, and forgot about it. It sat in that suitcase for 50 years and was unearthed only quite recently and adapted for a small orchestra by Paul Hoffert, great musician, friend of mine, and one of the founders of the immortal rock and roll band, Lighthouse. And he and Moshe Hammer, brilliant musician, performed that Rhapsody recently at the Ashkenaz Festival of Jewish Music, held at Harborfront in early September. I got to know Leo at that event, at least met him, and decided I want to know him better. And in particular, I thought I'd ask him for his secrets to a long life. This is an interview that I shot with Leo at his home a couple of weeks ago.
I was born 1913, in April. 1 year later, the First World War started. People were starving. My mother was feeding me breastfeeding. That kept me strong. And my father, he was a Kapellmeister in an orchestra, and the engineers were Germans, and they had wives, musicians, pianists. So he was in contact with them, and they always helped my father. Just my father always managed that somebody gave him some food, so they were feeding me good. My father bought me a bicycle, because I had the first Jewish boy had a bicycle in our city. And I was going on professional races on the bike.
Really?
So good I was. So I was always doing something. I will say it in Polish, alobus. Alobus means you run, you don't listen, wild. I was a wild child.
A rascal.
I didn't do nothing wrong. Just I was running, always running.
Lots of energy.
Yeah, and I liked sport.
Yes.
I remember when I was running like I was flying. When I was 9, they teach me the violin. Then they taught me the piano. The music, that really keeps me alive. When I played a wedding, every bride is beautiful. And they kissed me. They came on stage, it's called bouquet. They kissed me. And that gave me life here too. This playing, I always was with the public, and I always saw happy people, and that kept me alive, and it keeps me even till now. I like to be between people.
And do you find that you eat 3 times a day?
I eat 3 times a day, a very easy small breakfast, like cornflakes with milk, prune juice, and a coffee. That's over there, and a banana. At lunch, we have salad, sometimes tuna, sometimes eggs, different things, cream, cottage cheese, that's what I like. And for supper, sometimes chicken soup, sometimes we cook borscht, like in Poland. Just not too much, 5:30, and I don't eat nothing anymore.
After
Sometime I'll catch a little piece of cake with a glass of hot water, no sugar. All my life, the same thing. I was never overweight. I eat everything, just I stopped eating salt. The salt is the worst thing for everybody. And in Poland, they used to say, ten biały piasek jest śmierć. That means the white powder, the salt, is dead. So we have to, it's very hard to eat without salt. Just you get used to it.
You drink alcohol?
Okay, it's a good question. A good cognac is good to drink every day a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
The will to survive.
Right.
Because the pressure that you endured crushed
Yeah.
many people, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And yet, in the face of all of that craziness and brutality, you had the drive to survive.
Well, I will tell you, we had no food, no water, running water, no toilet, no nothing. And I was skinny like a skeleton, because I'm used not to eat and not to sleep, and how to sleep on the floor. When I was hiding 18 months, and a Paul who hided me, he hided me because of the music.
Breastfeeding,
Yes,
exercise,
Right.
and music.
right.
You think that is the formula?
So there's something in me that I have genes. In my heartbeat is 62. If somebody would ask me when I was 50, do you think you're going to live 100 years? I would say, I don't believe. This is a hard time to live 100 years. And believe me, it's not easy to live. Because when you get this age, it's like a machine. All the screws get rusted. And every day is something else. Sometimes you get up, you cannot walk on this foot. Sometimes on this foot. Sometimes this hurts, sometimes this hurts. Just thanks God, I'm alive. My mother and my father, they were killed in the war. If you are a little bit religious, you believe they are somewhere there. I always pray to them, please see I should survive. I should survive. And I did.
When Leo said, when Leo said breastfeeding, I thought, I can get behind that. So now I'd like to call out Paul Hofford, Paul, and Moshe Hammer. So they're the ones who rediscovered Leo's extraordinary piece of music, and as I say, staged it. At the Ashkenaz, they have agreed, and I'm grateful that they've agreed to come here and play a short piece, another composition by Leo Spellman called Moods. Bravo. Bravo. Hey guys, let's get a picture. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing. Moshe and I are both Zoomers, and we approve of this message.
Leo is a man of very firm habits. He made that point, I think, very strenuously. And so he has a nap every day at about this time. So instead of being here himself, he sent members of his family. We have in the audience today Leo's daughter, her husband, and their kids. Where are they? If you could stand, please. 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 And if you could convey to Leo our amazement and appreciation for his work and for his story. Thank you. That's great.